I stopped by our Mendocino church this week and had an opportunity to take a look at a pretty significant remodel that's taking place there. There's been a lot of progress made. Had a conversation with the pastor there. Maybe you'd be interested in listening to it. I'm here with Jim Kirby today at the Mendocino Christian Fellowship Church in Mendocino, California. I've been helping out a couple of days here on this little project you see in the background. Jim, how do you find the project going and what's it about anyway?
How I find it going? That's going very well. It took us a long time to get to the point where we could have volunteers to help. We had a lot of time spent in getting permits, in finalizing the plans, moving the project through the Mendocino Historical Review Board, the Coastal Commission, the Mendocino County Building and Planning. It took about 2 years to get to the point where we could actually get a delivery of lumber, volunteers showed up, and we start turning on skill saws.
Was that a lot like 2 years of root canal work?
Well, there was periods of frustration accented by long periods of patience. We're just waiting for bureaucracy to churn its wheels and finally deliver a series of permits, 3 in fact. So it was tense at some times and then waiting other times.
So let's back up the bus a little bit for a second. How did this all come into being? Where did the idea come from? Where did the funds come from? How did this all come into being?
Well, I don't want to over spiritualize the thing and say God spoke to us or me. I don't want to do that. But I do want to quote an old adage that says, with any change, there's opportunity. And we've all experienced this great change with COVID-19. And back a couple of years ago when we were shut down and California said no worshiping indoors, we found ourselves here in the backyard. Now the backyard is riddled with gophers. So sitting out in the backyard presents some big problems. Walking among the gopher holes for senior citizens is another big problem. But it was pretty makeshift, pretty bad looking, but we figured out a way to have chairs that didn't fall through gopher holes. We would set up the chairs, set up a PA system each Sunday morning, and we would worship outside where I'm sitting. We found that with the music and the PA system, and just trying to worship as we normally do, only outside, we noticed that the neighbors who walk by the sidewalk here walking dogs or on their way to the headlands to look at the ocean, they would actually kind of pause, some would stop, some actually took a few seats in the back for half hour, 45 minutes and listened.
Really?
And that really birthed an idea. The idea is there's probably a big group of people in our community that we would like to reach who probably would never come into the church voluntarily. Probably feel that, it's where they keep kryptonite and they're going to get infected or something, but they don't want to go in the church. But they obviously showed that they would sit and listen. So we said, well, why don't we build out the outside to a proper area and take it a few steps further and make it really inviting. Give us a place from which to proclaim the word both in word, declaration, preaching, and also in music. So then you got the idea, well, we could actually have concerts out here. So let's build a deck big enough to put guest musicians and enough seating to make it worthwhile and so that the community could really enjoy it, and maybe even have this be an outdoor venue for the Mendocino Christian Music Festival, which was an idea that was birthed after we saw we actually had a venue to pull something like that off. So these were all these wonderful ideas, and it finally took shape after some initial drawing. One of our people said, I'm an architect, I'll do some drawings for you. And so we were off and running for that 2-year period to prepare for what you see behind us now.
And it's not just this deck, right? You're required to make some other significant changes here.
Yeah, a good memory, Greg. The building department came back with, in their first set of revisions, which was only 24 points long, what we had to change about the whole thing. One of them was, you're required, if you're going to do this, you're required to spend, I think it's 20% of what the cost of the project is to upgrade your facility for handicap accessibility, beyond that which the code would require to do what you want to do anyway.
Coastal Commission or historical?
No, this is the
Society?
county, California building
California,
code.
huh?
So that set us back a little bit because the price tag for that required that we scratch our heads and say, well, where can we do that much improving in this small facility to take care of that percentage of the overall cost? And it was the building department that suggested that we combine the 2 small bathrooms in the front of the church into one ADA compliant bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Put a small ramp in the front to get up 8 inches of rise from the sidewalk into the church. So that was a minimal. But then we would have the facility compliant. And then we thought, well, this is a good thing, because now we can reach out to the community and say, bring the people who are lame, who are on crutches. You got wheelchairs, no problem. We've got a facility.
Something out of Luke chapter 12.
Something just like that. So it was, we really feel that God's hand has been in this all along. He's opened all these doors, but He hasn't caused us to run through them. We have been patiently taking each step, and He's been directing and opening doors along the way.
So let me think. This is about week number 4 on the deck. Is that correct?
We started June 3rd, active construction. So we're about 5 or 6 now.
And what do you think? Another 2.5 weeks here on this?
Have you been talking to my wife? No, because she's always asking me, how much longer is this going to take? I don't know, because it's, with rare exception, it's been volunteer labor. Mm-hmm. And so we are at the mercy of when people can work. We've had some significant, steady help, and that has really moved the project along quite well. But we don't know what's ahead for that kind of volunteer activity. One phase of it, we had volunteers from 3 churches here. So it's generated some very good feelings within the community. They really like seeing something happen to
Mm-hmm.
the church. But as far as how long it's going to take, only the Lord knows.
Well, this will, to me, as a general contractor, I look at this and taking into account the volunteer nature, I could see this being done in another 3 or 4 weeks, possibly. And then after that, you're going to go straight into the interior, the bathroom remodel projects and the entry at the front?
I think it's the best approach for a couple of reasons. Number one, the weather will still be good. We don't want to be tearing out issues in the front when we're in the rainy season. Another is the momentum. We have tremendous momentum right now. And I think we need to, just like a football team, marching the football down to the goal line. You just keep doing it, first down after first down after first down. You keep doing it until you cross that goal line. So that's the momentum. We have good momentum. I want to keep that up and finish.
Would it help people watching this video? I could see, maybe you could put out a plea and say, hey, could somebody help me? I need a plumber, I need an electrician, I need a roofer. Go ahead and say that.
Yes, I need an electrician, I need a plumber, I need a roofer.
Okay.
Yes, I do need all those things. Right. If we could have a steady flow of volunteers coming, I can give you 2 days, I can give you 3 days, I can come on 1 day. I can schedule that and work with that. Project is a study in material procurement on time for the volunteers, and management of the labor force, volunteers as they are.
Well, there's that, and there's also that whole thing about trust and obey, huh?
Well, there is a large amount of faith involved, yes. But we are believing that the Lord is going to increase the harvest because we are reaching into the community.
Jim, thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
You know, he shouldn't have to be doing this alone. Maybe you could help.